Gabriel from Advanced Wellness Center, and tonight's lecture we're going to be talking about nutrition and stress. So, everybody's seen this diagram before, very common as the breakdown of every kind of food we actually eat. Carbohydrates come all the way here at the bottom of the barrel, pretty much. Then after that, we look at fruits and vegetables, then proteins. Then here, all the way up top, we start looking at candy, chips, and fats and oils. So here on this diagram, we have the recommendation for how many servings per day we actually need. But I like to look at them from a different perspective. So if we start looking at the human body in general, we are reservoirs for energy. So we take all of these elements and we put them in our system, and that's how we create energy, and that's how we be able to give any output, to be able to perform any kind of activity of daily living we need or we want to. So surprisingly enough, carbohydrates and fats give us the same amount of energy equally. Whether you eat carbohydrates or whether you eat fats, then you'll be able to get the same amount of energy. So the fascinating thing here is that when we as human beings started actually looking for food, we were eating a lot of vegetables, we were eating a lot of fruits, we were eating a lot of proteins, not so much carbohydrates. But then as the population started growing, then we started eating a lot of carbohydrates, trying to compensate for the lack of food on Earth. So the same way we start using carbohydrates and proteins and fats into putting them in our system to be able to produce energy, we use them to produce hormones and neurotransmitters trying to just carry on all the functions in our bodies. So some of the neurotransmitters that we utilize here are serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, and these are responsible for our emotional status. They make us happy all the time and control how we feel. But with our lifestyle, with our continuous stress that we have all the time, that starts actually producing a lot of continual release of adrenal hormones and a lot of other hormones that would interfere with the body's ability to stay in balance. So what are we trying to do? We're actually trying to stay in balance, which is called homeostasis of the body. So the more we are in control, the more we'll be able to carry on as many activities as we want. But with all these stressful stimuli that we have here, we start actually having a lot of stressful lifestyle. We work a lot of hours per week. With stress, we tend to mix our priorities. What we need to do is that we need to actually have good food to be able to produce a lot of energy. But we actually start finishing our stressful tasks first, then we reward ourselves with certain types of foods based on what we accomplished at work. So, how do you reward yourself? Do you have a latte? Do you have a Twinkie? There's no more Twinkies anymore. So how do you reward yourself? Okay, right? So usually there's a lot of sweets that are involved in that, because if any person around has low levels of serotonin, they will be inclined to consume a lot of sugar and a lot of amounts of sugar in an attempt to increase the serotonin level. And this is what increases your happiness, improves your mood. So, but with a lot of sugar, that's what happens to you. So you go to McDonald's, you go anywhere, and you have a really good sugary meal, and then 2 hours later, you're done. So, with a lot of carbohydrates going into your system, you start having a lot of inflammation, because carbohydrates increase inflammation in your body. So you start having a lot of joint disease, muscle spasms, fatigue, underproductivity. So looking at this cycle that we've been discussing, the bad food cycle here, if you have bad food, you're going to have lack of energy, you're going to start getting lazy, you're not going to have self-esteem, you're going to have lack of social interaction, and then you're going to end up with sadness. So what I'm trying to say here is that the more activities we're able to do, the more self-esteem you'll have, then you start having a lot of social activity. So what's the solution now? We need to start having a lot of fruits and vegetables in our diet. We need to have a balanced diet. So if you decrease the amount of carbohydrates in your body to once per day, increase the amount of meals to about 5 or 6 meals per day, then that's called a balanced diet. If you have a lot of omega-3s, less omega-6s, if you start having a lot of anti-inflammatory elements, which are included in fruits and vegetables in general, then you'll be able to control that fluctuation. You need to exercise. So the more exercise you have, the more serotonin you'll be able to release out of your body, and that would actually improve your attitude as well. So here's a good food cycle now. If you have a lot of healthy food, you have a lot of energy, you work and exercise better, you have a good self-esteem, you have good social interaction, then you end up with happiness. So what we're trying to do here, especially here in Advanced Wellness Center, is that with chiropractic care, which is involved in actually returning the body to normal alignment, is that we have the brain here, here's the spinal cord, and this controls a lot of activities and functions in our body. So trying to keep the whole body in homeostasis through chiropractic care. If you have any kind of a problem, then you should go and get it diagnosed. So stop doing the activity that increases your symptoms, then go to a doctor who's going to refer you to a specialist to see what exactly is wrong with you. And then here we actually start doing a lot of x-rays, MRIs, nerve conduction studies, trying to figure out if this is the route that we need to take to be able to better serve you. Any treatment that we perform here might include chiropractic care, herbal medicine, massage therapy, and acupuncture. There is spinal manipulation here as well, muscle relaxation, stimulation for muscle dysfunction, and what we're talking about today is the nutritional advice. And we have health coaches here that will be able to answer any of your questions as well. So the spinal manipulation is a common technique that chiropractors have been performing for a while, and it returns the joint back to its formal mobility and position. It's most effective in the first 6 weeks of injury, so if you or anybody that you know have any kind of injury that's been recent in the last 6 weeks, then you actually need to report to a chiropractor to be able to get diagnosed and start the treatment plan, because it's more effective when it's actually acute or subacute. These are the references that I have. If you need anything, please feel free to ask me. And if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or go on our website. Any questions?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That was fast. Yay.
Okay.